Welcome to Network Spotlight. I am your host, Mikhail. On today's show, I will be talking to Sebastian of Anotherblock, which is a platform that's looking to decentralize music rights, connecting non-fungible tokens to royalty rights. We discussed how this could potentially be another asset class, the future of music when it comes to blockchain technology, and of course, security. So we had a great conversation. I think you'll enjoy. Please subscribe to the channel, support the show, like the video so more people can get their hands on this information. Thanks a lot and enjoy. How are you doing, Sebastian?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
Doing wonderful. Thanks so much for taking the time to connect. We've been in touch for quite some time. I mean, I remember learning about Anotherblock a while back. What have you been up to since we've last connected?
Yeah, well, we launched, which is a pretty big thing. I think we talked 10 months ago for the first time. So yeah, we have issued 4 drops on our platform, with a 5th coming up now in in February.
So before we dive into the details of what you've been up to, what for those that are listening don't have a clue what Anotherblock is, can you give us a quick rundown of what is it that you're working on?
Yeah, sure. So what we are doing is that we take music rights, attach them to NFTs, and issue them on our platform. So we take, for example, we had a drop with Acquainted from The Weeknd. So it was a producer who sold off a portion of his rights there. We fractionalized it and put it on these NFTs and sold 500 of them. So each of these NFTs would be earn maybe 0.001% of the streaming rights for that song when it streams on DSPs like Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube, for example.
And why is it so important to bring in blockchain technology into the music industry?
Um, I mean, the music industry is very centralized and it's very not very transparent. So what do we do now is basically we create the new market for the rights holder to be able to sell his rights. That's very illiquid, and this market didn't really exist before. There were big music funds like Hypnosis that buys big pieces like full catalogs for very large sums of money. But with tokenization and fractionalization that we are doing, we are enabling all the people that sits on rights for music to sell them if they want to. So it's not just the big names that can do this.
So it sounds like what you're saying is traditionally artists could own the rights to music pieces, but now essentially what we're doing is we're empowering the fans to be able to have ownership. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So, but not only fans, you also have retail investor and institutional investor who would be interested in this kind of asset class because typically a song that's been out for 3 years has usually had its initial hype of streams, and it's very stable for quite a long time, typically yields about 5 to 15% per year. So an older song, for example, like Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, that maybe yields 4 to 5 to 6%, but he has been doing that for 30 years and probably is going to do that for another 30 to 40 years. And then you have the newer songs that probably yields a bit more, and then but usually it drops off a little bit. But so this is an opportunity really to be able to invest in music for the retail investor, an institutional investor, or if you don't really care about the financial piece, just have it as a collectible. If you're a big The Weeknd fan, for example, it's quite cool to be able to own a piece of his music.
I guess it's very similar to what a lot of sports fans do, where they own specific moments of specific events. So in this particular scenario, people can do the same thing when it comes to music.
Yeah, but I guess the difference also is now you also own the economic right. So when that artist performs well and that song performs well, you earn money from that.
So, what made you decide to jump into this industry? What were you doing before you got started?
Yeah, before this, I was at Nasdaq working in their blockchain team. And that was very fun to also see how blockchain can be utilized from more of the corporate side and on the big institutions. But I also felt it was quite far away from the end user because it's typically Nasdaq create a product that another big exchange buys, and then there's multiple middlemen before it kind of ends up in the end user. So I wanted to work more closely with like a real product that
When
the
did you
average
start?
people
And
use.
I'm sorry, go ahead. What was that?
Sorry, just an average product that everyday people use.
Right. Well, when did you get started with another block?
We started about a year ago and started building, and then we've been iterating back and forth. We originally planned to launch during spring this year, but with it was it's very hectic, not hectic, very shaky on the crypto market than with the everything with Luna and Terra. So we decided to kind of push it after the summer. So we launched now in end of February, end of August.
Yeah, that must be kind of exciting, but at the same time, really risky, right? To go from having a career in something where it's pretty stable, working for a name like NASDAQ to pursue, this platform that's on the cutting edge of technology, but obviously a lot of risks associated with that, but super exciting, right? And very rewarding if done correctly. Like what's been going through your mind like over the last year since you've been working on this?
Um, Absolutely, it's been very stressful, I would say, especially when we get kind of affected by everything that's happening in crypto. And we had one of our biggest drops now, like 1 week after everything happened with FTX. So that was also very stressful. But I would say I'm starting to be quite calm because I'm this what we are doing, fractionalization of these assets is not something that it's a question about if it's going to happen, it's when. So I'm just super confident in what we are providing. It's just it depends how long time it's going to take, but I'm 100% sure it's going to take off.
And most people that are listening that are in Web3, they may understand the challenges on the crypto side with all the events that transpired. But what are some of the challenges that you face being in the industry that you're in terms of music?
um, yeah, so one of the biggest challenges is trying to explain what we are doing to a creative mind that maybe doesn't know that much about crypto, and trying to convince them that we want to sell off portion of their rights and they're going to earn more money than what they would do if they didn't do this sell off. So that is one of the biggest problems, I would say. Another big problem is just how um, centralized the whole industry is. I mean, there's a lot of music crypto projects that's kind of trying to get into the music industry, but what we are tackling is their golden goose, the rights, and there's not that many out there that's doing that. So we believe I watched this the playlist about Spotify on Netflix, and it felt very similar to what we are doing, tackling this big industry. And so yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how the big players react once we grow a little bit.
What do you think is going to be that tipping point for everyone to catch on and understand what's going on?
Um, You mean from the average music fan, you mean? Or yeah, okay. Um, I think when we start to really drop some really big hits, like for example, I can't really disclose exactly, but we are talking with rights holder for some of the biggest songs ever created, most streamed songs ever. So when we do drop those kind of songs, that's going to be a big pull into this space, I think, for the average person. And this, then we hope they start to realize that this is a very, very good asset to own from a financial aspect, but also a really cool asset to own.
Have you been able to, like, are there any kind of milestones that you're able to speak about over the
You
course
mean
of
in
the
term
year?
um, you mean in terms of songs or other types of milestones?
Songs, artists, anything that you could potentially mention
Um,
from the past.
um, I mean, when we sold out "Acquainted" by The Weeknd, that was pretty big because that sold out in like 3 minutes,
Hmm.
and that was very crazy. So actually, some people in our team wasn't quick enough in order to mint. So that was a pretty cool moment. I think another big milestone that hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen quite soon, is in January. We're going to pay our first royalties out to all our holders. So that's going to be a big thing also.
Hmm. That's exciting. Well, so what are some of the things that you're working on right now to get ready for the new year? What's coming down the pike in development?
Yeah, so we have some really cool things that we're working on. So one of the big challenges is now we're kind of targeting the Web3 audience, but we believe this is there's interest in the Web2 world also, and one of the problems of getting Web2 people to experience this is that it's very tricky for them to get started. So we are working on what we call an onboarding guide that enables them to, get a custodial wallet using social media login and top up their wallet. And in the future, we're also going to support buy these NFTs directly with credit card. And that's going to be a huge step, I think, for us in order to start attracting those hardcore music fans that really want to get in but don't really know how to get started. So that's one of the things. The other big thing that we're doing is we're working with the Superfluid protocol to start streaming out the royalties. So that means traditionally in the music industry, you usually get paid like every 6 months because that is when the statement comes. Then you know how much it has streamed, and you get a lump sum out. But what we are going to do is that we're going to start paying out the royalties by every second instead. So as soon as you acquire one of our NFTs, a Superfluid stream is going to get started, and you're going to start earning royalties directly into your wallet. And that's going to be super cool because that means that you're going to get paid before the artist, basically. So you have a continuous stream of royalties going into your wallet that you're earning.
I mean, do you think that this? Well, I should probably ask it in a different way. How long do you think it would take for this concept to disrupt the music industry?
Um, I think it's going to take a few years. I don't think the music industry a lot has happened on the the consuming side of music and on the production side of music, but not that much in between. So I think it's going to take a few years, but we already are talking to some labels that are interested in using our technology and our royalty distribution internally to start just distributing to all their own rights holders. So a label, for example, could get paid from Spotify a lump sum, and then they can just send it into the system, and everything gets distributed automatically. And that's something that's going to help a lot. Then I also believe be able to track the original creator of certain music pieces. There are a lot of companies that's working solving that. That's a quite tricky piece, but that's going to be quite a big thing also when you can kind of prove on chain who is the creator, original creator of certain pieces.
I mean, I can imagine like how much work goes into this, both from the technical standpoint, but then there's this whole other business development standpoint that other projects in Web3 don't necessarily need to deal with, and that's having these conversations with these artists and their managers, or I don't even know what goes into that whole process, but I can imagine it's like a completely different world out there.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely, and it's that's one of the most complicated things. But everyone that all the rights holder we have kind of convinced to try this out are super happy and they want to do more. So I think that's a good outcome of this. So yeah, it's we're working a lot on the educational piece and how we educating both the rights holders and the potential future buyers what it is that they are buying.
When you think about the development that you're going through right now, and everyone's thinking about the innovational side, of course, and it's exciting. There's an ownership piece to it, but are there any kind of security concerns that you're trying to address as you're developing out your platform?
I mean, I think the biggest security concern is that we hopefully a lot of Web2 people will come into this space, but they haven't experienced how easy it is to kind of get hacked and all this aspect. So I think there's going to be a lot of new people into the space that's going to get scammed in some way, uh, uh, sadly, and that's going to be hopefully not scare them away. So that's something that we are going to look at over the next year, how we can kind of improve and educate people on the security aspect in crypto.
Yeah, one aspect or one type of security risk that I've noticed has been popping up is pig butchering, which is a term that not many people have heard of, but it's when you're receiving just random messages, whether it be on your Telegram or other social media platform, and it's somebody that's basically trying to take advantage of the fact that you might be lonely, right? They have a
Yeah.
conversation, and a lot of times they are trained, right, by a psychologist, or they have some type of training where they are able to convince you to pay um, and be able to part ways with your money. Which I think it can affect any industry, but I know it's very common in Web3 just because we're so community focused.
Yeah, that's a lot, and that's probably going to happen. We are working, as I said, with trying to educate people. We have in our Discord we have a lot of bots that try to protect as much as we can from these random messages, and we are encouraging people to kind of turn off the random messages feature as you can do in Discord. So yeah, but that's a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, keeping your community secure is one aspect of it, but also growing it must be a challenge of in itself, especially during the current market conditions. Like, what are some of the strategies that you've taken in order to build trust with your community, in order to grow your community?
I mean, we are trying to be very transparent with everything. So we are regularly in our Discord and speaking with everyone. We are very open with the kind of disclosing all our agreements that we have with the rights holder and showing like how much we are earning, etc. And that has helped a lot. And then some strategies we use to in order to grow has been. I mean, I would say our biggest challenge is just reaching people. I think as soon as they hear about us, they get excited about this potential to own music. So one of the biggest thing we did during the fall now was we used a tool called Crew 3, where you can kind of create these quests and you can earn levels. And one of the things we used as a carrot basically is getting on the allow list for the next big drop. And then we had people that needed to kind of follow us on Twitter, share it to their friends, write in different Discord groups, and that really spiraled for us. So I think we doubled our from like 5,000 to 10,000 Discord users in a matter of days due to this. So and we didn't pay a cent for that really. So that was kind of amazing to see the community aspect of Web3 and how quickly it can go.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now is definitely the time for building, not just technically, but also from community development standpoint. So it's exciting to see that your project, which I know you've worked really hard on, but it's gaining traction. You're building a community, which is exciting to see. Where can people follow along on the journey?
Well, you can find us at anotherblock.io, and there we have links to all our social media channels, and it's usually Another Block at it, in Twitter, Instagram, and for Discord.
Okay. And I'll be sure to post the links in the description so that way they're easy to find. Sebastian, any parting thoughts for the audience?
Um, no, I mean, I think everyone should come and check out our next drop. It's going to be Bitch Better Have My Money by Rihanna, which is one of her biggest songs. And that's going to drop on the 9th of February.
9th of February, right around the corner.
Yes.
Wonderful. Sebastian, thanks so much for your time and giving us a glimpse into your world.
Thank you very much for having me.